Welcome to Vintage Variety. As always, I have quite a few projects to get around to in my workbox, but for today, I've decided that I'm going to do a restoration on this beautiful yellow necklace. All of these beads are glass, including the small floral beads. So I think this is going to be a really fun project, and we're going to lay this out and see how I'm going to go about tackling it. This necklace, like most of the necklaces I have done restoration on, has at one time or the other been broken. And I'm afraid that I'm missing quite a few pieces from this necklace. I did take a measurement on this, and it's only about 16 inches in length. That means that if I put it back together as is, it's going to fit more like a choker. It's going to fit around the neck at about 8 inches. And I don't really want that. I want this necklace to be more of a wearable length. I want it to rest at least along the collarbones so that it can be seen. I didn't order any beads for this necklace because it can get expensive, and if I decide that I want to sell the necklace afterwards, I don't always get my money's worth out of it. So instead, I did look through my stash of loose beads, and I found some yellow beads that I thought might work. I have these round beads, but they're much larger, and I don't really have enough of them to add them into the necklace. Another problem that I had with the beads for this necklace is the right color, because this is a very vibrant shade of yellow, and a lot of the beads that I had in my stash are a much lighter shade. At first I thought about using these as a focal point on the necklace, but the color's just too light and it's really going to stand out. One thing that I have decided is I'm going to use some tiny yellow seed beads in between the round beads on the necklace. I did find 3 beads that I think will work out as focal point beads. They're kind of an unusual shape, and I think that they will look stunning on this necklace. Hopefully that will be enough to add some extra length to this necklace so that it will be more of a wearable length. Now for the stringing material. When it comes to this type of necklace, I have a couple of different choices. I could use silk, which is what this necklace was originally strung on, or I could use wire. Often, if the necklace is going to be long and heavy, I will use wire. And I had someone ask me about that, if the wire didn't become tangled or bent. And I have seen wire necklaces or necklaces that were strung on wire that do become really tangled. And part of the problem with more modern necklaces that you see is that usually they don't put as many beads on them. So instead of having a full strand of beads, you'll have the beads spaced out on the wire. And that's part of the reason that those necklaces get so tangled up and bent. This is a really good example. You can see how they've put beads on, but they've got them separated. So you've got all of this wire in between that's just there to get bent, caught on something, or tangled up. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you do decide to use wire to redo a necklace. Kind of think about how the necklace is going to be worn, and also if it's going to be full of beads. This double strand necklace is one that I have in some of my crafting supplies that I eventually plan to reuse the beads in something else. But I just wanted to show that to you guys as an example. When it comes to using wire, you're always better off, if you're going to use wire, make sure the wire is just completely filled up with beads and that you don't leave any slack in it. But for this project, I've decided that I am going to use the silk beading string. Another thing that I'm going to have to do with this necklace is clean the closure on it. The clasp on this necklace has some verdigris on it, and I would really like to reuse the original clasp. But first and foremost, I have to get rid of that, because putting it back together with that on it would just be a waste. Verdigris is kind of like a rust that gets on jewelry, and it will spread to other pieces. So that's going to be the first order of business today, is to get that verdigris off the clasp and get all of that killed. I don't want any of that left on it. And that way I can reuse the original clasp. So I'm just going to get this cut off, and then we'll get it put into a solution to kill the verdigris and get it all cleaned up. Here is a good look at what I'm talking about. You can see all that green gunk on this. So that has to go. We're going to see if we can get this removed, and if not, we'll use a new clasp on this necklace. This is a really simple homemade solution consisting of tap water, a few drops of dishwashing liquid, and quite a few splashes of vinegar. I'm using white vinegar for this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix the solution up, and I'm going to leave this to soak for probably anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. I will come back and check it, and I'll also give it a really good scrubbing with a soft toothbrush. This is a great solution for cleaning verdigris off of old pieces of brass fittings, but it's also a solution that can damage your jewelry. So anytime you're using it, you have to be careful. This has only been soaking for about 30 minutes, but I wanted to give you guys a look at it. You can see where the verdigris has started eating into this brass. So I am going to add a little more vinegar to the solution, and I'm going to leave it soaking for at least an hour or more. I will scrub this. My guess is that once I do, some of the brass color is going to be missing, but this will still be a usable fitting for this necklace. So the clasp on this necklace is all cleaned up, all the verdigris is gone, and I wanted you guys to see, it looks like at one time or the other that this had paint on it. I think it gives it some character, so I'm going to leave it exactly as it is. I'm going to set this out and let it air dry, and then later on we will reattach it to the necklace. I've already removed all of the beads from the old stringing material, and I've put them in this container. This is the same container that I used for my solution, but it's been washed and dried. I also wanted to show you guys the focal beads that I chose. These are larger, and they have an unusual shape that I feel like is going to look great on this necklace. I did count all of the original beads on the necklace after I had measured it out, just to do a little bit of math to decide exactly where I'm going to incorporate these focal point beads. I'm also going to be using this silk stringing material. I am going to use the original clasp that was on the necklace. This cleaned up really well, and now it has no verdigris and it's all cleaned up and dry. Another thing that I'm going to be using are bead knot covers, and I will show you guys how I'm going to use those when I get ready to close them up. This is just going to hide the knot that I make at the end of the beads. All of these extra items that I'm using, you can find a link to them in the description box below this video. They are in my Amazon storefront, and if you're interested, fine. If not, that's okay too. Anytime you purchase through my link, my channel does receive a small commission, and that really helps my channel out. But as I always say, there's no pressure to buy. I did take photographs of this necklace before I deconstructed it, mainly because I want to stay as close to the original pattern as possible while redoing this. One thing I am adding to this, as I mentioned earlier, are seed beads. I'm going to add a tiny seed bead in between each of the round glass beads. I think this is a good idea. It will add a little bit of length to the necklace, but it will also keep those glass beads from hitting together. So the pattern of this is basically 3 round beads and then the floral beads are added. Originally there were 4 floral beads added together to make kind of a cluster, but after experimenting I found that I could add only 3 and still make a really pretty cluster out of them. That's going to give me more beads to use along the length of the necklace as I add in those focal beads. So for now, I'm just going to let you guys watch what I'm doing. I am going to speed the video up for a little bit, but when I get ready to put those focal beads on, I will stop and show you how they're going to look. One more thing that I did want to tell you guys is that after I counted all the beads and calculated how I was going to restring this necklace, I would have had 4 of the round yellow beads left over. Didn't really want to leave those out of the necklace, so what I decided to do was to start off on the ends of the necklace with just 2 of those yellow beads, add in some floral beads, and then continue on with the 3 bead pattern as I went. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys, but I didn't want to leave that out in case someone noticed. As you can see, I've already added quite a few beads to this string, and now I'm ready to add my first focal bead. I am keeping my fingers crossed that I did my math calculations correctly and that this is going to look right. Otherwise, I'll have to take all of these off and redo it again. But the goal here is to have 1 focal bead in the center of the necklace and then 1 on each side. So I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to put a seed bead on each side, and then I'm going to start over again with my pattern of 3 round beads and 3 floral beads until I get so far along, and then I'll add the next focal bead. Just wanted to stop, let you guys know exactly what my ideas are. Once again, I'm going to speed the video up. You guys will still be able to see what I'm doing, and then I'll slow everything down and come back when I get ready to put the final finishes on this necklace. This necklace is almost complete. I did want to show you guys, I left out 3 of the floral beads. The reason for that is these are broken. You can see where the petals are broken off of them. And I really didn't want to add those back to the necklace. These beads are glass and they can be rather sharp, and I wouldn't want to add something to the necklace that might cut someone. So those I'll probably just dispose of. I don't really have a use for them. I did want to show you guys how I've attached this. So on each end, I've took the stringing material and I've put it through the small hole in the knot cover. Then I've double knotted it. Because this is silk stringing material, what I like to do after I make that knot is I trim it off and I put a small amount of jewelry glue and I let it dry. I'm going to give you guys a closer look at these knot covers just so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about in case you yourself ever want to use them or if you've never used them before. So I'm going to get a couple of these, or at least one of them, out. And I'm going to try to zoom in and give you guys a close-up of the construction. So it's kind of rounded on each side. There's a hole in the center, and then there is a small loop, and that loop is going to attach on either side to the clasp parts. On one end, I'll have the clasp, and I'll attach it there, and then on the other end, I'll have a jump ring that will, of course, go into the clasp. So hopefully that's making sense. If it doesn't, you guys are always welcome to ask me any questions in the comments. I always try to answer any questions I receive. So you can see what it looks like. After I've closed up the knot cover, if there's any string sticking out, I'll go back and I'll take some small cuticle scissors and I'll clip that off also. Now all I have to do is use my jewelry pliers and I'm going to apply gentle pressure just to close this knot cover up. It doesn't really take a lot. You just close it up so it's secure, and that hides the knot in the cording material. You can see I have a little excess sticking off, and a pair of cuticle scissors will just clip that off and make it look really neat. It won't even be noticeable. Now I'm going to do the other side. And the same thing, just using my jewelry pliers, I'm going to gently apply some pressure just to get this closed up so that it hides all of that stringing material and where I made the knot in it. I'm going to close up the clasp on this, and I will put this on the necklace stand and give you guys a good look at it. I did want to add that by putting on those tiny seed beads and the 3 focal point beads, it did give me more length on this necklace, and just as I had planned, this necklace is going to fall around the area of the collarbones. Of course, if someone wanted to wear it longer, an extender could always be put on the back of it, but I think that's a great length for this necklace because in my opinion, this one is just really stunning. It's just a showstopper. So let me get this put on the necklace stand and give you guys a really good look at it, and you can give me your opinion and tell me what you think. Here's a look at this necklace all completed on the necklace stand. I did want to show you guys, I feel like my idea for adding those focal point beads just to give the necklace some length worked out really well. So it turned out exactly the way I'd planned. I have one in the front center of the necklace and one focal bead on each side. I'm also going to show you this necklace in different lighting. This is the necklace under very bright lights, and you can see it's a very vibrant, almost neon yellow color. But in a dimmer light, it's not quite so yellow. I think that this turned out absolutely beautiful, and this would be a wonderful necklace to wear any time of the year, but especially during the summer on sunny days, or maybe in the fall mixed with some other autumn colored beads. So this is the necklace in a little dimmer light, and you can see that it doesn't look quite so bright. So I like the way this looks under different colors of light. You guys let me know what you think of this necklace in the comments, and if you enjoyed this content, please remember to give me a thumbs up. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to share this necklace redo with me. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and ring the bell for notifications so you'll be notified anytime I upload new content. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.